On my 6th arrest, I woke up at my parents' house, which was like one of the most sickening moments of my life, to wake up there and then have to walk downstairs to confront them. My father was waiting downstairs for me. I remember thinking that he was going to like come down on me, and I was prepared for that. What I wasn't prepared for was that I walked down and he looked at me and he just looked sad. That was the thing that made me like, I can't do this anymore.
If you didn't have a role model like your father, like what did the situation look like?
I think my dad has been the anchor for me many times in my life. After I moved out of my mom's house, I moved in with my dad, and I was very angry. Like, I think very angry. And I don't think that's like an emotion that, I think a lot of girls get sad, but I was angry and like raging at all points and times, at everybody. And my dad was so empathetic and so patient with me. And he was, in many ways, I think he was the reason I was able to stop acting that way, because it was like, no matter what, he didn't let me skip any commitments I had. He was like, you're still gonna do all these things. It doesn't matter what's going on with your mother. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter all this. Like, you've got to stick with your commitments. So to that degree, I think he anchored me a lot at that age. And then I think as I got older, you know, when I was spiraling, drinking all the time and doing drugs, having him say that again, it's not like it was something I didn't know, but I think sometimes having somebody from the outside say it is much more powerful, especially in those moments where you're convincing yourself otherwise. And I think that that's what my dad has done for me so many times in my life, is he's kind of pulled it, he has just provided me with a mirror at which to accurately see myself. And, you know, I don't know if anyone else would have done that, because I think that what I was doing was not abnormal for the people around me, but it was for him. And I think that that's why I'm so grateful for him, because my whole life he's been that. He's just been the anchor. I think there's been so much fluctuation, life changes so much, there's all these things. Even my dad, you know, one day he won't be here, but while he is a complete rock for me. And I think he's also inspired me to do that for other people.
Is there a particular moment or story that would encapsulate or describe your dad to somebody else?
Yeah, I don't even know why I'm crying, but I remember when I moved out of my mom's house and in with my dad, I was so anxious and I was so scared, mad, whatever. I felt so weird because I moved in with him. He was now married, and then they had her kids in the house, and then it was just me. And I felt so out of place. Like, I felt like I left my mom's house, which wasn't safe and such, but I at least felt like that was my home I grew up in. It was people I knew. I moved in with my dad, and I felt so much unfamiliarity. You know, I hadn't been as close with him growing up as I had been with my mother. So it felt weird at first. You know, he wasn't, at that point, I wouldn't have considered my dad the rock I do now. It became that after I moved in with him. But I remember I told him I didn't feel like it felt like home. And I would like lay awake at night feeling like this isn't my house. I feel scared, I feel uncomfortable. And I remember one day I came home and my dad I had been looking, and I think we were at a store, and I saw this furniture set, and it was, you have to think, I'm 15, a girl at the time. And it had this beautiful white crested vanity and bed and dresser, and it was so beautiful. And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty, it's so beautiful, but it was so expensive, you know? And I wasn't thinking I would ever get furniture anyways. We always had hand-me-down stuff. We never got like new stuff. And I remember I came home one day and I walked into my room and it was all the furniture that I'd seen at the store. And my dad looked at me and he was like, you know, you deserve everything. Like, I want you to feel comfortable here. I want you to feel safe and at home. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I just don't deserve you as a father, because I was so angry. And it's so funny because I broke down in tears because I felt so undeserving of that furniture. I couldn't even fathom that my dad spent that much money on it for me, who was acting like a complete asshole. But that's who he is. He's the guy that shows up when you're acting like a complete asshole, and he's there to be like, but you're not. Like, this isn't who you are, and you're gonna get back on track. And he's unwavering in that instance. Like, no matter how I'm feeling, my dad doesn't change how he shows up. And I think that that's why I consider him to be a rock. And that's what I think that I have been able to emulate for others, which is like, no matter how angry somebody is, no matter how sad they are, no matter how depressed, I won't waver. And therefore they can rely on me, because how they feel isn't going to change how I show up. And I think that was like the best gift he could have given me, because to this day he does that.
I hope you're enjoying this Leila Hormozi video. It was sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where site-wide right now is buy one, get one free across all t-shirts. The mission behind the clothing brand has always been to inspire change and to be able to deliver this content on YouTube for free. This support from you guys allows us to do exactly that and get our film crew out to Las Vegas to be able to go and film Leila Hormozi. So all t-shirts are buy one, get one free if you use code SALE at checkout. That includes the all new symbol designs, the Inspire Change t-shirts, the classics. Absolutely every single t-shirt in any combination is buy one, get one free using code SALE. Also, everything across the site is now discounted, from the hoodies to the posters, and yes, including the journal with some heavy discounts with a link in the description. Once this is gone, guys, it is gone. Thank you for supporting projects like this, and we promise to continue to deliver great motivation and great inspiration. Let's jump back into the video. You've got these moments in your life where you've had like these inflection points where you've had big changes. I think you've referred to them before as like rock bottom. And I think there's a story of your 6th arrest. What I would love to maybe talk about, like maybe the first arrest. Like, what was one of those moments like? Like, was that a moment where you realized it was too much, or was that did they just sort of happen as they came along?
You know, it's funny because I don't think that the first even 3 or 4 times that I got arrested, I didn't think it was a big deal. And I think that a lot of people would assume that I would have, but one, context of like the town I was in, lots of people got arrested. It wasn't like a novel thing. The people I hung out with got arrested. Wasn't a novel thing. Some of them had been to jail or prison. So it wasn't weird based on the people I hung out with. And then I think even further to that point, I think there's this shift that happens when you're in your early 20s. And I don't know anything about the science of it, but all I know is that until a certain point in my life, I felt invincible. I felt like I could do things. I could drive drunk. I could drink. I could act all sorts of ways, and I wouldn't have to bear the consequences that others would. And I think that, I know that there's a saying in the Army where they say it's like the best friend syndrome or something to that degree. I would have to look it up. And basically what it is that they ask everyone that joins the Army, are you afraid of dying? And they say, no, I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm worried Jimmy, my best friend's gonna die. Well, interview all the people that come to the Army, literally everyone's worried about their friend and not themselves. And what are the stats? Some of them are gonna die. And I think that the same went for me at that point in my life, which was like, oh, I understand where this is going, but that won't be me. I'm not gonna be one of those people. I'm not actually gonna end up getting put in jail. I'm not actually gonna end up drinking myself to death. I'm not actually going to end up with any of those things. And it wasn't until my dad, on my 6th arrest, I woke up at my parents' house and my father was waiting downstairs for me, which was like the worst, one of the most sickening moments of my life, to wake up there where I didn't live, have a ticket next to me of my arrest, and then have to walk downstairs to confront them. It was just like opening the door to walk down was like, I can still feel how I felt in that moment. It was awful. And I remember thinking that he was going to like come down on me, tell me how awful I am, he doesn't want to talk to me again, whatever. And I was prepared for that. But what I wasn't prepared for was that I walked down and he was sitting on the couch with my stepmother. And he looked at me and he just looked sad. And he said, I'm not gonna try and control you. I'm not gonna try and threaten you. I'm not gonna try and do anything. I just wanted to let you know that I am worried if you continue to do this, that you're going to kill yourself. And it was like, in that moment, the fact that he thought that would happen to me, it was just baffling. And that was what, in my mind, that was the thing that made me like, I can't do this anymore. I can't drink. My father is like the nicest person. He came here from Iran. He started this family. He's only done everything to try and make my life better. He tried to get me out of my mom's house. Like everything that he's done for me, he's been a fantastic father. And to feel like I put him in a situation where he's worried that I'm going to kill myself. And I respect my dad's opinion. It was the moment that I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't drink like this. I can't keep getting arrested. Like I can't keep fucking around. And the weird thing is that I think during the time I knew that wouldn't be the rest of my life. I was like, I know me. I'm not going to keep doing this forever. But I think that, you know, a lot of people say that to themselves and then they end up 20 years later. They're still saying, I'll turn it around in a day or two. And I realize that that's a really poisonous thing to think, is like you think, oh, I'm going to eventually do it. It's like, well, why isn't eventually just today? If you're going to do it eventually, you might as well do it now.
Thank you so much for Leila for sharing this story. When she opened up about her father and this particular story, I was super excited to share it with you guys. I know it's something that's not been heard before, and I just want to thank her for doing that. This, for me, is the message of Inspire Change. You can have the impact on someone's life massively through your actions and what you do. So well done to Leila's father for creating such a wonderful person. If you want to help support us, consider becoming a channel member with the join button down below where you get exclusive benefits. And also, today's video was sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where it's buy one, get one free across all t-shirts, Inspire Change t-shirts, Hardest Work in the Room, Rise and Grind, all of that kind of stuff. Buy one, get one free. And the Not a Journal and the Memento Mori poster are also heavily discounted with the link in the description whilst stocks last. Thank you for supporting us. As always, have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.